Steam locomotives, despite having disappeared from most major railroads almost 70 years ago, still hold a special place in the hearts of rail fans and model railroaders. There's just something about steam locomotives that diesel just can't match, whether it's the captivating motions of the side rods and drive wheels, or their rhythmic chugging exhaust, a stark departure from the usual droning rumble of diesel. Most of all, model railroad manufacturers realize this fascination, and they provide us modelers with a steady stream of big, exquisitely detailed, and beautiful locomotives from the golden age of steam. But as it turns out, this isn't the steam for everyone. These days, many modelers, including myself, are turning to smaller layouts, point-to-point track plans, and fewer opportunities for fast running. So where could one of these modelers, lacking the space, resources, or both for big steam, find a suitable locomotive for their steam fix? I found one for me in the form of a Bachmann 060. A model dismissed for years as cheap beginner's fare, Bachmann totally reworked this model for release in 2024, adding Roadname specific details, updating the aging tooling, improving the drive, and adding a Soundtrack's Economy DCC decoder. Bachmann initially priced this model at $355 American dollars, which is absolutely ridiculous. Fortunately, online stores brought the selling price to just over $200, so I, searching for steam, picked one of these up. I got the Union Pacific model, which came with a correct headlight, oil bunker tender, perfect for my Pacific Northwest locale, and probably other road name specific details that I did not notice and I do not care about. The model has a decent number of separately applied parts, which are very thoughtfully placed to maximize their visual impact, making the model look really great overall. Excited to test out the model, I put it on my layout and I was pleased to discover that it sounded great, pulled well, and ran smoothly. It also looked great with my 2-passenger cars. After just enjoying the model for a bit, I set out on the task of programming it. First, I broke out my old sectional track and set up a sketchy loop to break in the locomotive at high speed. Then, I began tweaking momentum, volume, and the magical CV215. Then, I accidentally screwed up the dreaded CV29 and I started over. Things went much better on the second try, and pretty quickly I found myself with a much better sounding running model than the one I started with. The model has good slow speed performance, but its biggest weak point in performance is starting from a stop. However, this is a really small nitpick, especially in a locomotive for me that isn't going to be an everyday workhorse. I was also pleasantly surprised by the sound and the functionality of the Economy decoder, which will not having the features of the superior Tsunami 2 from Soundtracks, is still a very solid choice for the budget sound decoder arena. In the end, would I recommend this model? In short, yes. If you've been looking for a small steam locomotive to perform a few switching duties on your steamer layout, or just to play around on your modern setup, I think this is a really good option. Certainly better than an overpriced, decades-old Proto 2000 model. In the end, this model runs well, looks great, and sounds awesome. One thing to note, however, is that this model does not include a keep alive or any capacitor, but I believe you can add a Soundtracks capacitor through a plug in the tender. Having a capacitor in the model would greatly improve the performance of a small locomotive like this over any dirty track and would prevent really any kind of small cutouts like that. Though personally I prefer to go without one, which is a greater incentive for me to keep my track in tip-top shape. Also, if you're interested in this model and you want to see more about how it stacks up to the older Bachmann version, check out Interurban Era's great video on this model, which goes into much greater detail over the model's detailing and history, and is generally better than mine. The video will be, but also might not be, linked in the description. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to stay tuned more on this channel as I build and operate my modern day switching layout. On that note, I'm going back to running trains. Catch you in the next one.